Hi everyone, it's me Reidy with another episode of Beat the First Man, and coming up on today's show we have Zooming In meets Road to Wembley as we follow Manchester City in the FA Cup. The first tie of the Crap Kit Cup is up for grabs today, so we'll see how that pans out, and of course loads of your usual fun and games. So what are we waiting for? Roll them titles. So here we are then, climbing the numbers up to episode 73 now. And if you are new on board the BTFM bus, please ensure you click that subscribe down below so that you never miss another journey on the bus. If you've been here all the time, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to do so. Best of all, please all get involved. Comments down below, drop your likes, hit us up on social media. It's all part of the joy and what we need. So let's start with pastures new for how old this week. We're heading to Norway. Don't normally go to Norway, but doing this, you can usually find out a lot of information about players that you've not necessarily heard of. Not this week. This week has been a struggle for me to find information. Our man had a very short career. Looks like it was curtailed by injury, to be honest, quite a young age. He made 57 appearances for Lillestrøm and 17 appearances for Viking Stavanger or Stavanger. I don't know. I'm not very good at Norwegian. You should know this by now. Anyway, he also represented his country at under 21 level, which was when this picture was taken. And to be honest, I've got no more for you than that. Luckily, the picture more than saves the day. It's an absolute belter. So when this photo of Rune Stakkeland was taken, how old was he? Answer to be revealed later on in the show when Ted will be along as well. And it is not an easy one, I will tell you now. Dad v Lad Fantasy Football, there's no video this week. There was no games obviously last weekend, and with no Premier League this weekend either, we decided that we'd give it a miss this weekend. So don't worry, we will be back next week with me reeling him in even further. If you want your dose of Kian, don't worry, he will be on with Listen Up a bit later on the show, giving you an album this week that you should be listening to. But it's time now though, a little bit of this. The name game. Yes, the name game. And again, we bring you some classic five-a-side team names from around the globe that you definitely need to be trying to fit into your five-a-side leagues that you enter. So let's get underway, shall we? Number one, Real Madras. Very good, very good. Number two, Rapid Viagra. Like it, like it. Keep it up. Number three, Real Social Dads. Very clever. Good play on words, liking it a lot. Number four, Bayern Munich. If you've got a player called Brian, no brainer. Number five, PSV Hangover. Liking that one a lot, and I can think of a lot of teams that would definitely be relevant to. So make sure you enter it on the application form if you enter any five-a-side competitions or any five-a-side leagues, and let us know. But we'll be back with another 5 team names next week. But this week on Zooming In, we had our usual FA Cup Road to Wembley team. So as you know, last time out it was the 2 old duffers from Swindon Town. Well, they'd gone out, so we're now with Manchester City. So earlier on in the week, I caught up with Mike Long from Bolt from the Blue podcast as Zooming In meets Road to Wembley. So welcome to another Zooming In, and this time it's Zooming In meets Road to Wembley. Now, you may recall in the last round, I was joined by 2 old duffers from Swindon Town. Well, sadly, we've lost the 2 old duffers, but happily, we've gained someone new. So our new team is Manchester City, and we are joined by Mike Long from the Bolt from the Blue podcast. How are we, Mike?
Very well, very well. It's just after 4 a.m. here in South Korea, and I'm ready to talk Man City.
That is 100% dedication.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. It's a freezing cold over here, so I wasn't getting too much sleep anyway. So, yeah.
It's not a great deal warmer over here, if that helps.
Okay. Still, I wish I was home, but anyway.
Oh, well, there we go. So first off, tell us about your podcast, Mike. What's it all about? Where can people find it? What do you do on your show?
Okay, so this podcast is called Bolt from the Blue, the Bolt from the Blue podcast. It's been going for about 4 years now, and you can find us. Well, my Twitter account is at Bolt from the Blue, where the blue is spelled BLU rather than BLUE.
Yeah.
And also we have a website which is boltfromtheblue.live. So you can find us there. The podcasts are up there too, and also various pieces that we've written. And I do it with 3 other guys. So Colin Savage and Ray from the City Fan TV YouTube channel.
Okay.
And also, yeah, and also a guy called Bernard Deneen as well. 3 of us.
Excellent. So let's get into Man City then. And first of all, let's rewind, because I think there's a perfect reference point for Man City fans who from a certain era. And I think if you go back to 1999, it's the playoff final. You're 2-0 down to Gillingham with about 3 minutes to go. In your wildest dreams, could you have imagined the next 20 years would pan out the way they did?
I think that particular game and that result was what set us on the way, because I mean we could have been in the 3rd tier for a lot longer, but that was a fantastic result. Really breathless, and obviously, of course, when we won the Premier League with the famous 93-20 goal by Kun Aguero, felt like it was happening again. You know, just holding the win from a very bad situation with time running out. So it's been an absolute roller coaster, mate. Absolutely. I never forget whenever I was over here in Korea at the time, and I got a phone call from my dad back in 2008. He said, "Mike, switch on the news. You've just been bought by one of the world's richest men, and apparently you're going to sign Dimitar Berbatov." And that obviously didn't happen, although they tried. And then the next minute we've got Robinho, and I don't really know if he realizes, you know, which Manchester he's signing up for at that point. But yeah, since then it's been amazing. It was great under Mancini. It was great under Pellegrini. But we've got the right man now, Pep, and he is just delivering silverware pretty much every season. So it's amazing. It won't last forever, obviously, but we're enjoying it.
Well, and I think, you know, if we fast forward it on a little bit, and this is probably quite a strange question to ask, because when from the outside people see it as, oh, you're just winning every week and it must be boring. So from the outside, is there a little part of you that wishes you could go back to those Jeopardy days of League One, the Championship, when you genuinely didn't know what the results were going to be every week? Because now, let's face it, without being harsh, there's 20 games a season. You know you're going to win in reality, at least.
Well, yeah, it's funny you should say that, because you know, the boxing champion Ricky Hatton, he's a famous Man City fan, and he actually was quoted as saying that he actually wishes that we were back in those days, because it was unpredictable. There was a certain kind of gallows humor that the fans shared together, and you know, we have songs about it, you know, about how crap we are, and there is I think a small part of City fans of my vintage and beyond that kind of misses it a little bit.
Yeah,
but that feeling doesn't last too long.
I can imagine.
Yeah, we're quite happy with the way things are going.
I can imagine. Now, you did touch on a little bit earlier, but we can't not mention that moment. So 2-2 against QPR. You're into the 93rd minute. It looks like you've blown your greatest chance of winning the title, and worse still, it's going a few miles up the road because they were winning were they at Sunderland that day? Was it?
Yeah,
memory serves me right. Yeah. So talk us through your emotions of that minute. It's 2-2. You're on the break. Talk us through from a Man City fan's perspective. We've only seen it as a Leeds fan. I was absolutely desperate for you to score that winner, obviously. But
yeah.
But from a Man City perspective, what was that minute like?
It was just incredible. It was like it went into slow motion for me. The time was running out, and I'm a pessimist. I was pretty sure that this was not going to happen. And then as we approached the box, it was Balotelli got hold of the ball, and he seemed to kind of almost be falling over it. And I thought, well, that's that. But somehow he skewed a little ball out to the right. I didn't know who was coming in until almost afterwards, because he's such a flash.
Yeah.
Aguero with very little backlift, and boom, it's in the back of the net. I am literally going berserk. And the neighbors on both sides are kind of banging on the wall to get me to shut up. Obviously, with the time difference, it's it's not a good time of night for people making loud noises. But I just couldn't believe it. I was just totally breathless. And then I started on Twitter and giving it out to United fans, because also at that time there was the split screen just afterwards, where the United fans, you've seen it obviously, where there's people on the phone and everything, and suddenly they all go like this, because there's a roar so loud that they can hear it. And Phil Jones and Alex Ferguson, their sad little tears, I just loved it. I loved it. So there's nothing better than a City win, but if it's combined with, some kind of loss for United, that makes it all the sweeter, So
of course, it's your local rival. That's what it's all about at the end of the
day. Absolutely.
And I think what people do forget about that game, and I think people, aside from Man City fans, is actually you were 2-1 down going very, very late into the game. Dzeko equalised. There was only, 4 or 5 minutes to go when he actually equalised?
Yeah. Probably even less than that, actually. And certainly absolutely virtually nothing left in the game when Aguero scored that goal. But yeah, Edin Dzeko's header, that really gave us a tiny lifeline. There was no lifeline before that.
No.
And it has been such an incredible game too, with Joey Barton getting stuck into people and getting sent off and kicking Aguero in the back of the leg, because that seemed to obviously didn't do much good for him, because he scored the winning goal. Yeah. But he was a really nasty piece of work that day. And so the whole game was, I think Zabaleta scored the first one, and then they equalised and went ahead, and it was just the most incredible drama. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, whether it would be Man City or another team, but those two games that you mentioned, the previous one and also this one, just unbelievable drama.
Yeah,
heart attack stuff.
Yeah, massively. So you are now here as our FA Cup team. So we started way back in the extra preliminary round back in August. We've now got to the stage where you beat our previous team, Swindon Town, in the last round. So you are now our FA Cup team. So as a fan of Man City, who are now competing in the Premier League, the Champions League, you've got very, very big fish to fry. Where does the FA Cup now realistically sit?
Well, I think that it's a very high priority, because I feel like we've done the League Cup. We've won it like about 4 or 5 times in the last 6 seasons. There's not a lot of prestige with winning the Carabao Cup, but there is still prestige with winning the FA Cup. Now, we've won it 6 times. And the last time, I think, was, we got it with, was it Pep or Pellegrini? I can't remember. But it's still something that we value. I mean, I started supporting City on our cup run back in 1981.
Yeah.
So I was in a 9-year-old, watching this on TV. And although obviously the sort of the prestige has declined since the days when you got live build up on ITV and BBC at the same time, it still means a lot. And obviously, it's something that we want to get. And Pep he just goes for everything. I mean, He really does. He puts out teams that even some City fans think half of these could use a rest, but he wants to win it, and we will if we can,
Yeah, and so obviously this weekend it's Fulham at home, very free scoring in the Championship this season, but I mean, it's not going to be difficult for you. This is a routine victory, Mike, isn't it? Let's be honest.
You would think so. But I'm still I'm a City fan of old vintage. Over 50 now. So the thing is, there's still something that forbids you from being just too too sure about it. And also, we don't know how experimental Pep will be. There are lads there sitting on the bench, and they must not be very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Gundogan hasn't played in several games, and you've got people like incoming people like McAtee, and really, really hungry youngsters as well. And they must be thinking, if I'm not going to get a run out here, when will I? So I think Pep does that pretty well. I would imagine that he'll have a very strong defense, and maybe probably the back five won't change that much, but then he might be a little bit more experimental up front and see how that goes until halftime. But it's a cup game, so. And Fulham obviously know where the back of the net is.
Yeah, I mean they've been scoring goals for fun, haven't they, this season? I mean, they've been putting 7s and 6s past everybody, but I can't see past you guys winning. But there is a little caveat I should probably mention now, Mike. So we started this in the extra preliminary round. Not once have we followed a team for 2 rounds. The beat the first man FA Cup curse has knocked out every team so far, all the way through. We've never stuck with one team twice. So can you break the curse?
I think we can. I think we can. I think we can.
I know you can. I do know you can. In fairness, the funniest one, the last round, obviously had the guys from Swindon on. They were delighted they'd drawn you. They were just so happy they'd drawn you. It was a brilliant tie for them. And I said to them, "Can you lift the curse?" And one of them just went, "Nah, absolutely not. Not a hope in hell."
Well, yeah. I mean, I if I was one of their fans, you'd think that as well. I don't know. It's just it's the cup, and there've been cup upsets before with City. I mean, I can remember. I'm so old. I can remember us getting beaten 1-0 by Halifax Town. Yeah. Back in the 80s. So yeah, it's sort of 90% very confident, but there's still a nagging feeling.
I can remember that. I'm of the same vintage that I can also remember you losing to Halifax Town as well. To be fair.
Oh my gosh! But I just remember going into school, straight after that, and just getting absolute dog's abuse.
Yeah.
From all these United and Liverpool fans, in my school. So yeah.
As a Leeds fan, I had similar when we went to Histon and lost 1-0 to Histon. Unfortunately, I wasn't at school then. I was at work. So, of course, people at work are much more vicious and don't leave you alone. And they're literally all after you for weeks. And it still gets mentioned every now and then. But, hey. So, one final question, Mike. So, when you beat the curse, which you will on Saturday, I'm 100% convinced you will break the curse. Will you come back on before the 5th round tie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here for you. I'm here for you, buddy.
You're here right through to the final.
Yeah, win or lose, I'm always available.
And we'll do.
I've got an insomnia problem.
Well, what we'll do you a deal. Next time, if we're through to the 5th round, we'll try and make it on a weekend, and I'll make it a nicer time so you don't have to get up at 4 a.m. to talk to me.
That would be much appreciated. But anytime's okay with me. Anytime's okay with me.
So, Mike, just remind people one last time, where can they find your podcast?
Okay, so it's the Bolt from the Blue podcast. You can find it on SoundCloud, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, pretty much everyone. It's the Bolt from the Blue podcast. And I'm on Twitter at Bolt from the Blue. BLU. That's it.
Perfect. I'll put a link to Mike's Twitter page on the show's page as well, so you can go and check out the stuff that they do. And if you're a Man City fan, I'm sure you'll love it. And if you're not a Man City fan, you like football, you'll still love it. It's all good. And Mike, thank you very, very much for coming on. We hope you can beat the curse on Saturday. This is a Leeds fan cheering for a Manchester team. This is not sitting very comfortably with me, but I do hope you break the curse on Saturday. And who knows who we may get in the 5th round. And if we drew your near neighbours, maybe I could get one of them on here as well, just for giggles.
Well, that would be fun, or maybe not.
Mike, Take care of yourself. But for now, it's back to the show. There we are then. Sound Lab was Mike, and you've got to admire his absolute dedications coming on the show. Be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning in South Korea just to come on this show. Fantastic effort. So don't forget, go and give his Bolt from the Blue podcast a go. You'll find it in all the usual places. And will we see Mike again in the next round, or will the FA Cup curse strike again? Next week on Zooming In, it's back to the musical guests. Got a band for you coming on. A couple of the lads from the Superlatives are coming on the show. So we look forward to that one. So here it is then. Drum roll. The first tie of the new competition, the Crap Kit Cup. So, how will it work, I hear you say? Reidy, how will it work? Well, let me tell you. So, I have found 32 crap football kits, and each week there will be one tie, and quite simply, you are voting for the worst stroke crappiest kit of them all. So, you can either leave a comment below, or you can go on Twitter, so it's at BeatFirstMA2, and vote in the poll. Simple as that. Whoever wins, they will go through to the next round. But remember, you're not voting for your favourite, you're voting for the crappiest. We want to find the crappiest kit of all time. So this week's first round tie, it's a German club side up against an international side. So very continental. So let's start, shall we? The club side, the smaller side in Munich, the boys from 1860 Munich, decided in 2010 this would be a suitable shirt to wear. Hideous, absolutely hideous. But don't worry, I hear you saying that I might take some beating. Well, I think I've got something that will rival it. The Australian national side, who, trying to get to major competitions, well, they decided in 1990 that the right thing to do was to wear this. Another hideous one. So quite simply, which one has the crappiest kit? Vote on Twitter, leave your comments below, find out who goes through next week, and we'll also have another tie in the Crap Kit Cup. There we go. So after all that excitement, I think it's time we had a little bit of this. Yes, Tales of the Unexpected yet again, and we head to League One from last weekend, and a story that you might not have caught up on. We go to the wonderful world of Gillingham as they entertained Oxford United. So anyway, having taken an early lead, Oxford were awarded a penalty in the 12th minute, which Cameron Brannigan slotted home. Remember that to start with. In the 48th minute, Oxford, who were now 3-0 up, were awarded another penalty, which Brannigan tucked home again for his second penalty of the game. Keep listening. 7 minutes later, and you guessed it, yes, it's another penalty. And yes, of course he does. Yep, Brannigan completes a hat-trick of penalties, and it's 5-0. Gillingham pulled a goal back 5-1, but with 7 minutes remaining, would you believe me if I told you they got another penalty and that Brannigan scored it? Well, you better had, because that's what happened. Yes, they got a fourth penalty, and Cameron Brannigan scored his fourth penalty of the game. Oxford ran out 7-2 winners, Brannigan scoring not one, not two, not three, but 4 penalties. That is the kind of thing we love on Tales of the Unexpected. But here he is then, our little furry friends. How are we, Ted? I'm all right, Reidy. Not so bad, although I feel a bit depressed from watching the news. Ted, the best thing you could do, my friend, with the news, switch it off. But I like Naga. Well, this may well be the case, Ted, but, is Naga worth watching all the dismal stories on the news, day in, day out? It's a tough one, Reidy, but every day, something more depressing than the last day. Ted, I stopped watching the news 2-3 years ago because for that exact reason that you just said. What do you do now? Just watch reruns of this show for your depression fix? Well, that's just rude, Ted. I do my best to bring you fun, entertainment and joy to the masses of the United Kingdom and the whole wide world, whoever wants to listen. I would hate to see the week when you don't try. Anyway, enough of this rudeness. Have you got any nominations for this week's Little Knob of the Week? It was a tough one, Reidy. There weren't many this week, I'm afraid. Everybody seemed to be on their best behaviour. Well, what can I say, Ted? I hope you've managed to find us one, or this is going to be a pretty crap segment of the show, to be honest. Oh yes, we do, Reidy. A Premier League centre forward. Ted, please tell me it's not that one. No, it's not that one. He was London based. Oh, Ted, now, is it Lacazette, Kane, Werner? No, none of them. It was Ivan Toney. Really, Ted? What has Ivan Toney done? Have you not seen social media this week? Ah, yes, I got you now. So Ivan Toney, Brentford centre forward. So he was spotted, he was out partying at the weekend and someone was filming him. And as everyone does, you know, they like to talk to the camera. Well, Ivan Toney decided it'd be a good idea to say Brentford. I mean, Brentford is not the ideal thing to say when Brentford are your employers. So Ivan Toney, for his comments against his own club, which surely his fans got to be fuming about when he said, "Fuck Brentford, you are this week's little knob of the week," without a shadow of doubt. Anyway, Ted, are you back for this week's How Old the Reveal? Yes, Reidy, and it's got me very, very confused. Okay, well, we'll see you in a bit then, Ted. See how you get on. So, time for a bit of a musical interlude. Well, somebody talking about music because YouTube rules, can't play the music. As we're treated to the delights of Kian Says, Listen Up.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another Kian Says Listen Up, where I'll give you a song or an album or anything to listen to from the last week, but this was the week before, but that was a different song than last week. You get the idea. But this week's album is World I Understand by the Sherlocks, which is their third album. It's doing quite well in the charts. I think they got the top 10. They wanted the top 10, so they got it. So well done, lads. I've seen them a couple of times live. They're really good. And the new album's just like the next level to what they were. So yeah, the Sherlocks, World I Understand. Get on it. Listen to that. Cheers.
So there we go, new album for you to listen to. The boys of the Sherlocks, their third album. It's called World I Understand. It's a cracking album. If you've not heard of any of the Sherlocks albums, genuinely, all three albums, excellent, well worth a listen, and a very, very good live band as well to boot. So the Lineal European Cup, well, that took a breather last weekend. Arminia Bielefeld are back in action this weekend. They're defending on the trophy on Saturday when they entertain Borussia Mönchengladbach. And the Lineal UEFA Cup, though, we were back. So Debrecen, you may remember the Hungarian side, they held the trophy. Been a winter break in Hungary, but back in action last weekend. So they got to defend their trophy, and defend it they did with a 0-0 draw at home to high-flying Kisvada. So they will be back in action for the second defence of their trophy on Saturday. It's a trip to Fehérvár. Because now we're all learning about Hungarian football, aren't we? Yes, we are indeed. And so far, 3 teams I'd not heard of. Anyway, Ted returning can only mean one thing. It's time for How Old the Reveal. So Ted, how has your theory worked out for you this week? Well, Reidy, as you know, I count the wrinkles and I guess the age. Well, I do know that, Ted, but on that basis, what age have you plucked out of the sky for us this week? There are no wrinkles, Reidy. Has he had Botox? He might have done, Ted. I don't know the ins and outs of Runner Stackelen's beauty regime. I won't lie, Reidy. I don't think he has a beauty regime. It's a bit rude again, Ted, but come on, we need a number. How old do you think he was? Well, I think he is a Botox-riddled 29 years of age. Well, let's find out, shall we? So when this photo of Runner Stackelen was taken, I can reveal he was 22 years of age. Really do piss off now. 22, are you having a laugh? I mean, I have no words. Yeah, I double checked it, Ted. I checked his stats, everything, and it turns out he was definitely 22 years of age. What a joke. See you next week, Reidy. Bring a proper person with like age lines that I can guess from. He was a proper person, Ted. See you next week. Anyway, there we go. Another show all done and dusted for you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you were new on board the BTFM bus, please click that subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Get involved, drop your likes, leave your comments, vote on the Crap Kit Cup. That is very, very important. Vote on the Crap Kit Cup. But for now, it's ding ding. Next stop, Thursday the 10th of February for what will be episode 74. As always, stay safe, people.